Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's your boy, the Wrestling Classic, Justin here, back live from the Vibe for the first ever TWC Show episode in 2020. So it is the first ever, because it's the first one in 2020. And we are back. I'm rocking Chalkline. Got this dope Death Row Records jacket that they sent me over the holiday break. I absolutely positively love it. Simple, but it stands out. Rocking some Shasha Shanks, Sasha Banks, Salsa Banks, whatever you want to call her, from Urban Species on my shirt. These guys sent me this a while back. It's one of my favorite shirts because you guys know Sasha Banks is one of my favorites. And also, I should have pointed out, if you want to get yourself a Chalkline jacket, TWC 15, you can still save money on getting yourself a Chalkline jacket by using the promo code TWC 15. And after all that money that you spent during the Christmas holiday season, you can save some money when you buy some Chalkline. So use the promo code, do the thing, and look who we have here with me today. It's none other than Lady Kane. It's AJ. It's KeepMe. I don't know, whatever you guys know her as. She's rocking a Kane shirt, so she's making it very clear that she's Lady Kane. Have you ever, I don't know if she wants to. I was going to say, you should show me your dope Kane tattoo you got over, what was it? Was it All In Weekend?
Yeah, the first one.
You got it from All In Weekend. Who gave you that tattoo? It was a Wrestling Tattoo Guys, right?
Yeah.
What is their Instagram page? Wrestling Tattoos, I think. I think that's what the Instagram
I believe so, yeah. But Chris Aylin did it. He tattoos in Seattle, actually.
From Wrestling Tattoos. So if you want to get a cool wrestling-related tattoo, they've done a bunch of them. You can check them out on Instagram at Wrestling Tattoos. But what's going on? How are you? What's going on, AJ? How's life?
I'm good, you know.
How's the
New year? Same me. I don't know.
It doesn't feel like anything's changed.
No, not at all.
But that's the thing. Like, every New Year, it doesn't feel like anything changed. But I will say this.
That Death Cab for Cutie song just gets more and more relevant every year.
Which one?
The one that just says, "This is the new year. I don't feel any different."
I don't. But what was weird about this year specifically is because we were going into 2020 was the idea that it's a new decade.
Yeah.
Because then that started making me reminisce about the beginning of the decade.
It's interesting for me to be like, what's going to define the past decade? I was like asking my roommate that, and I was like, you think back to the 80s or the 60s and like summer of like you think defining things immediately. And I'm sure there are some for this decade. Like, I think the main theme is like privacy and the concept of it in a global scale.
I think social media blew up this decade. Streaming services blew up this decade. Netflix and Disney streaming, all the streaming services.
But that's attached to privacy. So.
I guess so. Yeah. I'm just thinking like things, because I know what you're talking about, because I'm a huge, like, I don't know, some people say I'm an old soul, but I love like old school vintage stuff. I love learning about the 60s and the 50s and the 70s and the 80s. And, those are things that definitely define those decades for sure. And when you get past the 90s, I'm always like, what defined the 2000s? What defined 2010? It's hard to think past the 90s of what defines those decades.
And how are people going to be dressing like us in 20 years, when it comes back?
Because we always, people throw parties like, oh, this is the 90s parties. This is an 80s party. This is like, what is the party?
How are people going to be dressing like us for Halloween?
This is the 2010s party. Like, what is that? What does that even mean? What is that? It's weird.
It's going to be just chalkline jackets.
Yeah, everywhere. I'll say this, though, like, from the beginning to the decade to now, like, because that's the only thing I got reminiscent about. I don't do New Year's resolutions. It's not that I don't believe in them. I am one of those people that thinks you shouldn't have to wait till the new year to change something. I don't really do, I don't know. Just the New Year's, new me things is not a thing for me. Obviously, I reset my goals and my things I want to accomplish by the end of the year, but I don't make them like a resolution. But the whole decade thing got to me. I thought about it. Like in 2010, I was maybe less than a year out of high school. Very confused with what I want to do with my life and all that type of stuff. And I spent the first 5 years in a I have no idea what's going on here. I spent the first 5 years in a relationship, which I have no regrets about that or anything like that. And I feel like the second 5 years of the decade became the Wrestling Classic, which is so weird. Because if you asked me in 2010 if I'd ever be able to do anything wrestling related, or I have an Instagram page with all these wrestling fans and followers, and got to go to multiple WrestleManias and meet a lot of my heroes growing up, and all like that I would never have imagined any of that stuff to happen. So it's crazy when I think of it like that. From who I was in 2010 to where I am now. Like, it's nuts.
Oh, 100%. I graduated college in 2010, and I definitely was in serious relationships until 2014, and I had moved to Korea during this decade, and then I lived in New York after that and was very single, and it was a very different person in the first half to the second half. Exactly.
No, same here in the first half. As much as it seems like a blur, like, I will never. I have zero regrets. I think everything happened for a reason. But I'm like, those sometimes now for me feel like darker times for some reason. That first half, 2010 to 2015. Like I was trying to figure myself out, and I made this page in 2014. But the second half has been a blast. Obviously, it has its low points too. Like every year of your life does. But
I'm the opposite though. But I think because what am I, like 5 years older than you? So it makes sense that like I thought I knew myself the first half, and then the second half I was like, oh, I have no clue.
But the best is when you don't, because that's when the most amazing stuff comes out of it. Because I feel like because I was so confused that first half, the second half I was balls to the wall. And I'm sure at some point, and I'm going to give it 2-3 years when I turn 30 years old, I'm like, who am I all over again? And at some point after that 30-year-old, turning 30 years old, I'll come to that point again where I'm like, I was lost, now I figured out who I am again. Because I think life generally, you never really figure it out, like ever. I don't think anyone ever really, ever fully figures it out. Even when you get what you want and you achieve what you want, you want more, you think you're not doing enough. I think that's just human nature.
But when you're younger, I think you question it less. You're like, oh, I pretty much know who I am, and I will only continue to know more. Where it's more of like a Benjamin Button thing. You start out, and then you learn less.
Well, like when you're a kid, like when
you
you're
know
a
less
teenager,
as you learn more.
When you're a teenager, you think you know everything, and you run this shit. Yeah. And like what do you
college,
mean?
If you're in college, that's just an extension of teenagehood because you don't really have real responsibilities for the most part.
I don't know, because like if I look back at it, like I've succeeded the same amount of times I've failed in the past 10 years. And I've left jobs. I got fired from jobs. School was a whole different story. I've had some really bad incidents with, just life generally when it comes to like getting in trouble. Without sounding so melodramatic, I'm pretty sure like I escaped death like at least 3 times this past decade. And all of that together is like, I'm still here. So cheers. And I feel like I learned a whole lot more in this past decade than did the years before. But I think I matured a lot faster because of it. And I think post-high school Justin and high school Justin were 2 totally different people. Because when I was a teenager in high school, I thought I knew everything in the world. And I think right after I got out of high school, life started smacking me in the face. So even like my college years, like I felt like I was a little bit more grown than that teenager Justin. But it's different for everyone. Life experiences, life situations, consequences, things you got to deal with and things you don't have to deal with. Relationships and family and all those things usually dictate who you are and what you think you know. But like I went through a really big hippie stage. It was weird.
I'm not surprised by that, Justin.
But I was scared for the world. Everybody is corrupt. It was me against the world. I was anti-establishment. I still am somewhat anti-establishment. I'm really bad with authority. But, and then I also grew up and realized we're all going to die anyways. And
also that no one else, I think this is the takeaway for everyone listening to us talk about our lives in the past decade is like, no one else actually knows what they're doing either. And that's really comforting, especially in the decade of social media when it looks like everyone else knows what they're doing. They're really not. They don't know.
Realistically, and I think a lot of people can relate with this conversation. That's why I'm glad we're having it. But realistically, that's so true, because if I can say something about the past 5 years that I didn't know before that, is I've been able to meet so many people that haven't reached a certain level of success, whether they're wrestlers, whether they're influencers, whether they're on TV, whether, like I've had the ability to have conversations with people. And it's crazy how much we have in common. Even though they're somewhat successful or we see them on TV every week, they're just like us. And they're still trying to figure it out too. Like,
if not more stressed out.
Yeah, because some of them are like, what am I going to do after this? What happens if this ends? Then what? Like, everybody is still always trying to figure it out. And you just got to live life, man, and just do you and do, whatever you want to do and just roll with the punches, man. You will get knocked down a bazillion times. You will fail a bazillion times. But all the times you get knocked down and you fail are just going to help you achieve what you want to achieve, because you're ready for it, man. I've been knocked down and been in so many crappy situations that anytime something crappy happens, I'm like, I'll be all right. I'll get through this one, You've been there for a lot of the times.
So what's your takeaway mantra, your advice? What is it that you just like?
Embrace the madness, man. Embrace it.
Of course.
Embrace the madness.
Mine won't be as succinct.
Embrace the madness, because within the good and the bad, it'll all work out as long as you keep a positive mental attitude.
Mine, I guess, is like everyone else also has no idea what they're doing. And the main thing is you just have to show up to things in general. Like, people are so afraid to, and when I mean show up, it's from like, yes, go outside and go to that stupid party you don't want to go to because you never know who will actually be there who could end up being someone else in your life, be it emotional or like a job opportunity or a network opportunity.
110%.
That's like the beginning of the spectrum, all the way to like just move to the country that you want to go to or move to the city that you're like too afraid to and figure it out from there. If you fail, you fail. Like it is possible to like fail, and there's levels of privilege there in me saying that. But at the same time, like what happens? Like I was super broke when I was in Korea, but I made it work. I got a credit card and got super in debt, but it was totally worth it and opened up so many doors. It's
always worth it. How many times have I randomly showed up places I wasn't supposed to be and it ended up being like a lot. When it was, whether it was All In, whether it was every WrestleMania I've gone to, I just randomly showed up. Whether it was the Rumble where I showed up last minute last year, showing up in Seattle for random shows. Like I actually learned that oddly enough from the Singh brothers when I did a podcast with them, which maybe I'll post as a bonus episode one day. But one thing that Harvin Gerv, better known as Sunil and Samir now on WWE television, said in that podcast is, I asked them like, how did they get to the WWE? And they're like, we just showed up places. We would just always show up places. Like one time we heard they were going to be in Toronto, so we flew to Toronto. We snuck backstage. We said we were extras when we really weren't, and we started handing out our tapes and our pictures to everybody. And finally, it was like Chris Jericho and someone else actually talked to us and stuff backstage in the Air Canada Center. And then, like that's the thing. So from that point forward, that was like I think I did that podcast with them in 2016. From that point forward, I've always kind of so thank you to those guys. Thank you to Harvin Gerv because I've taken that advice with me throughout these past 2-3 years. Is just show up places. As long as nothing's gonna happen if you're at home, but things will happen if you're at least there, or you can try to make them happen.
I also told you that, but I'm sure they told you first. So
they did tell me first. You told me that when you were trying to convince me to come places, which was also a great thing that you convinced me to come to those places because things would happen. Let's start talking about wrestling. But
right.
Before we get to that really quickly, I just want to give a quick shout out to Maestro Classic. As you can tell, I just showed up here today with my beard and hair totally not done, but at least my beard looks great. And that's because I've been using Maestro Classic for the past year, maybe even longer. If you guys haven't jumped in the Maestro Classic train yet, what are you guys doing? Maestro Classic is the best in beard care and is undeniably good at keeping your beard clean and conditioned. It is sulfate-free beard wash to clean the beard without drying your skin, and beard butter to condition it, and beard oil to help it shine. They are the licensed barbers for all the WWE superstars, all the NXT superstars. If you look at those guys and how their beards and their grooming is all done, it's all Maestro Classic. You can buy this stuff in Target, and you can also buy it online at maestroclassic.com. Use the promo code TWC Maestro, and you can save yourself some money. I couldn't recommend it anymore. Any friend of mine, anybody else I've given it to, they love it. It's easy to use, man. Just keep the one product in your shower. You'll remember to use it and then put the butter on after. Keeps the beard fresh and clean. And I used to grow my beard out all the time back in the day and it would get itchy or just like all messy and stuff. But with Maestro, that's not the case, man. It keeps it really well tamed, I shall say. It keeps my mane well tamed. And yeah, so check out Maestro Classic. Someone else that is a huge Maestro Classic supporter is our boy Rusev. And talking about Rusev, there's a lot. Let's talk about the most talked about segment this week. That has the fans very split on social media, and that is the Lana and Lashley wedding, the last segment of the decade on Monday Night Raw, the last WWE segment of the decade overall. And it was like a 30 to 40 minute, it felt like that long, it might have been shorter, segment of Lana getting married to Bobby Lashley. And we know WWE weddings never go as planned, so we're expecting a train wreck. We're expecting something to happen. And
I wonder what the last segment of 2004 was. And I also remember like of 1999, because I feel like the 1999 one would look more similar to this one versus the 2000.
I don't remember, but I think the 99 one was like, I think Triple H winning the belt. Like that's a little bit more wrestling related. I'm pretty sure because Big Show won the belt, and I think Triple H won on the last episode of Raw in 1999. I'd have to go back and double check. But to end it with this segment, and this is how I feel about it. Was it a good segment? No, by any means. It was not a good segment. Do you agree?
Yeah, it was there. No, it wasn't good.
It wasn't good. But I can tell you this. Everybody... this is exactly what I commented on the WWE's page. I'm going to read it out because I really strongly believe in this, okay? And I want to see if you agree with this. So I commented on the WWE's page under the Lana thing because it took me a couple of minutes to digest it, okay? Because I watched the segment. I was in my Flick Chat live chat For anybody that hasn't downloaded Flick Chat, do it and join the TWC Show group, and we can talk to you in the show.
And be nice, or I'll block you.
Oh yeah, because AJ has
I'm a
control.
mod.
She has the power. So I wrote this on the WWE's Instagram page. Also, shout out to Sheamus. There's a funny comment here that says "standard Irish wedding," which kind of got me to LOL for a second. But I said we all need to admit we enjoy a good train wreck. That was so bad that it was good. We all kept watching to see how it would end and found some sort of odd enjoyment in it, even though most people won't admit it. Because let's be honest, people did watch till the end. If you didn't like it, you could have turned off right there, and you could have been like, people want to know what was going to happen. First things first, 110%. Everyone wanted to know how was this going to end. We also knew it wasn't going to be good. I don't think anyone believed going into it that this was going to be a good segment. Everything to do with this Rusev, Lana, Lashley storyline has pretty much been bad.
Yeah, and I had that 30 seconds, almost a minute delay on my stream from you in the Flick Chat.
Yeah.
And I guess I was watching when those other, because I guess the middle, right around when those other X's came out,
Yeah.
I was like, this is so bad and there's no saving it. And then you guys started texting, oh my God, Liv. And I was like, come on, it's not Liv. You could literally say anything right now and I'd believe you. It's how bad this is. And then it was, but she was real good on the mic.
Liv killed it. Lana sucked. Yes. But I want to say something about Liv. This is also it's same with me. I didn't know it was her at first either, and she didn't get a crowd reaction because I don't think anybody knew it was her because she looks different than the last time we saw on TV. Although we've been seeing these video packages, I don't think people thought she was going to come out with this storyline. So when she came out, she got like almost no reaction.
Yeah,
and that kind of sucked. But I do think she killed it. And I just think it was a train wreck, but I think I think the fans enjoyed it. I think realistically, nobody wants to admit it. We enjoyed that train wreck. We knew it was going to be bad, and we stayed till the end to watch it. And
I still have questions.
I was also on Twitter, and everybody on Twitter was having a blast with it because we all knew we were going to watch something that was so bad that it ended up being good, and everyone was enjoying it because it was so bad. Like everyone was sitting there predicting someone's gonna jump out of the cake. Everyone's like, "What the hell, Liv? What is going on here?" Like it was fun because everyone was like, "What the fuck?" That's what made it fun.
True. I guess there aren't that many things on Raw that I sit through and watch.
Yeah. And it's one of the most watched segments on YouTube, which also proves that maybe it wasn't for the hardcore wrestling fans that are going to watch WWE all the time anyways and still going to complain. It was also for those casual fans that probably were tuning in for the first time or whatever, seeing this wedding, like, what is this? And being like, what? It actually did feel like Jerry Springer. It felt like a show where things were going to go off the handles. It was so, like, unbelievable that it ended up being kind of, like, disturbingly good. And I think that's what happened.
And I hear Sonya's arguments. I hear them.
Oh, yeah. Let's talk about that.
I hear Sonya's arguments about, like, she tweeted, well, I guess Mandy tweeted first, like, no words. And then Sonya was like, yep, right there with you. Can't believe this.
A little bit of a backstory, which I told you. They pitched it on Total Divas. Mm-hmm. There was an angle for, like, 2 episodes where, and obviously Total Divas, as much as it's a reality show and as much as it's scripted, this is something I believe actually happened. Because it got scrapped, and there was, if you remember back that period of time, they were building something with Asuka and Mandy, it seemed like, but it never happened, and Becky won the belt, and they did the triple threat thing, Oni. But what happened was, or Charlotte won the belt from Asuka, and then they did the triple threat title match instead. But Sonya pitched doing the first LGBT storyline with lesbians between her and Mandy, where she would be eventually falling for Mandy, who's like her best friend. And that's kind of believable because they've been a tag team for like 2-3 years now. And it was going to be this thing where she starts falling for Mandy and it leads to them either having a match or her being involved in Mandy's match at WrestleMania. It fully got scrapped. They talked about on the show how it fully got scrapped. They showed her going in there pitching it like with the door closed, but like they're showing like the subtitles for what was happening. Like it was a whole thing on the show. So I think... yeah, so that's a backstory on it, basically. So then they showed that they were upset over social media when this took place because Liv came out and claimed her love for Lana and said that they were lovers, which is kind of like the first lesbian storyline. And people are going to be like, there's been lesbian storylines. Mickey James, Trish Stratus, da, da, da. But those have all been like stalker, crazy type
and
of
those
situations.
Those were also very hypersexualized. This one wasn't as much so far, but also I have questions about, like, there's some confusion around, like, Liv's motives because the way Lana responded, also the way Liv responded after beating up Lana instead of just being like really hurt, and then Rusev, who I thought didn't really care about the whole situation, also popping up. So to me, they were like in cahoots to like make this rude.
Which is now leaves the question, because that's true. It almost seemed like maybe Liv said that on purpose, and it's not true. Or maybe there is some truth to it. We don't know yet. For a bad segment, left us with some questions. Why does Rusev still care? Everybody saw that cake and expected Rusev to pop out of it. That was, once again, one of the things that was popping off on Twitter and in my chat. Like, come on, somebody's got to pop out of that cake. And when Liv came out, people kind of were like, is someone not popping out of that cake? And then obviously Rusev did. But the thing that I like about Rusev right now, and in that segment, is it's almost as if, like, with his reactions of popping his head out and smiling that way and that cheesy, it's like he knows this is all a joke too. Like, to him, this is all a joke. And he's taking it as a joke. Maybe
he was like helping Liv.
Who knows?
To get back. Maybe he knew and he's like, it's fine, whatever, I'll help you out.
Lashley's eyebrows was its own problem. The makeup on Lashley getting on Lana was its own problem.
Does a lot. I will say though, one other thing though, the difference back to like the LGBTQ storyline thing. Yeah. The difference is if this was the Attitude Era and while Liv was walking down that ramp, her promo would have been about like all the hot, steamy nights we spent together, but it wasn't. It was like, the support that you gave to me this year was amazing, and our love, and it was like very mature, which is the way you should represent a gay storyline, whether or not it's the people acting it are gay or not.
Do you think they dropped the ball with Liv because they were building up for a comeback with all these vignettes? We didn't know how they were going to do it, but involving her in this storyline, do you think that's a problem?
No, I think there's a way out of it, and I think it is that like it was kind of like. Because I'm impressed with what she did, so I don't think it's ruined at all.
I think it's too early to tell, but I don't know, man. But I don't know. Maybe we'll get a second wedding because they didn't officially get married.
That fight was not a cat fight. That was brutal.
Oh yeah, she was throwing punches.
Yeah.
I don't know. Lana once again not a great actress. I'm still not feeling her with what she's doing. Lashley's killing it. At
least she has like. She can hold the mic for a while. She's definitely on some, like,
but when Liv came out there, Liv outshined her on the mic when Liv came out there.
Yes.
That's acting, because I believed it.
Lana tries to impersonate Stephanie McMahon.
Maybe.
You're not going to be Stephanie McMahon. So, she is definitely better than, like, your girl Sasha.
Hey. Sasha Banks is a G. And speaking about Sasha Banks, let's move on to SmackDown quickly. I just really want to talk about the wedding, but the wedding was amazing. Sasha Banks. First things first, I just want to share this little clip from Russell Botch's page here on Instagram of the Fox totally butchering Sasha's name, calling her Shasha Shanks, because... Do you know who Sasha Shanks is? How embarrassing is that? Anyways, talking about Sasha Shanks, how much more relevant is she than Bayley? Because Bayley's the champion, yet Sasha's in this like high.
She's the champ?
Yeah. Bayley's the champ, and Sasha's in this feud with Lacey Evans, who I think initially was trying to go after the belt, but Sasha taunted her kid, and they had a tag match where Sasha and Bayley beat Lacey Evans and Dana Brooke after. Lacey Evans did a quick interview on Moment of Bliss. Shout out to Alexa Bliss. It's great having her back. But I still love the chemistry between Alexa and Nikki. But this is just a quick question. There's not much to talk about. But do you agree with me that Bayley seems so much more irrelevant than Sasha Banks right now? Sasha.
This isn't even a question, of course. We talked about this 2 shows ago when I was here.
Yeah, but it's still a thing. Like, it's still a thing. Yeah.
I mean, you want them in 2 shows, especially the one that's the end of a decade, to give Bayley some time?
Like, let her do something. She doesn't seem relevant at all. She has no feud unless she's feuding Dana Brooke, which makes no sense. Carmella, thank God, is picking up win after win. She's beaten Mandy, and then she beat Sonya Deville this week, and maybe they're leading to Carmella to go after Bayley. They've been having some back and forth on Twitter and stuff as well, and I love Carmella, and I'd love Carmella to go after Bayley. But I still think that the real issue is having Sasha and Bayley together. When Sasha came back in October or August or whenever the hell it was, when she took her purple hair off and threw her blue hair, I was hyped, and she was hot. She was hot, as in like who she was as a character. Like, everyone was behind it. Even though she was a heel, people wanted to see her beat Becky and win the belt. That didn't happen. Okay, cool. When Bayley turned heel helping Sasha beat up Becky, okay, that was cool at first. But pairing them back together for every episode since then, it hasn't been cool. I feel like they'll be doing their own separate things, where Bayley is under her own spotlight and Sasha's under her own spotlight. Because when they're under the same spotlight, Sasha shines brighter than Bayley.
Yeah, I'm getting ahead of myself here, and I'm maybe mixing up what the rules are of some of these things.
Go ahead.
But
There's no rules.
The Rumble could play into this because we'll probably talk about it, but I assume, let's just say, oh God.
I've had no predictions for the Women's Rumble.
No, but I mean, the obvious person from NXT that's going to come up. Why am I blanking?
Rhea Ripley? Or
No.
Shayna Baszler?
Shayna Baszler, say she wins, whatever. I just, for some reason, popped in my head, like, that's someone that I could actually think make Bayley look better and more legitimate.
Time, if Shayna comes up, you would assume, and I actually did, that's a lie, because I did predict a couple weeks ago, Devin, that Shayna Baszler could be someone who could win the Rumble. But if Shayna's coming up, she's going for Becky. Because Becky's on this thing of trying to beat people she's never beat. She never beat Asuka. She beats Asuka at the Rumble. She's never beat Shayna. And
it takes a simple, like, I could beat another champ on the way to Becky. Like, it's as simple as that.
I know, but WrestleMania is so soon around the corner. Like, she needs to go after Becky. Because Becky technically doesn't... I don't know anyone that's an opponent for Becky yet. Shayna Baszler.
Charlotte again. I don't know.
And Charlotte's dope. But that's another thing. We'll talk about that really too. Like, Charlotte had a match with Natalya on Raw, and it was a great match. But man, does Charlotte feel so like uninterested in what she's doing right now? She came out there, she announced that she's in the Rumble, which is like, okay, I think we all already assumed she was going to be in the Rumble.
Yeah, and then she doesn't feel hungry anymore, which I'm okay with.
Well, I think it's because she's not really doing anything that's really super relevant. But it comes off as you can tell. It's like she's kind of lost her vibe. Like, she doesn't know she's a heel or babyface, which she is a heel, but like, it doesn't feel like she's so heelish. She's not technically chasing after the title, which is weird for Charlotte. And she's
I feel like she's a babyface right now.
She's a heel, but she's not in a feud either. I don't know.
Is she?
Well, the last time she was kind of feuding
when
with
she announced she's going to be in the Rumble, everyone was cheering.
And she has been teaming with Becky in the last couple of months against the Kabuki Wars.
I feel like she's
in this weird place.
I feel like she's starting to be the only person in this era of wrestling that actually resembles like a golden era wrestler.
Maybe. And she's already established. She's already established. Like, she's already a first ballot Hall of Famer in her 4 or 5 year career. 6 year career.
I'm okay with that. She's like the Roman. It's okay.
But I think we need her to be more relevant, but I think people also are like, it's this weird period where like people are kind of tired of seeing her in the title picture and being the main woman, because she has been for so many years. And they want Becky to run with it, but also there aren't those many women on the Raw roster that I can think of off the top of my head. There's Natalya, there's Charlotte, and there's Becky. Who else is on the Raw roster? The Kabuki Warriors I would consider on both shows because they're the tag champs. Well, on SmackDown, you have Sasha, you have Bayley, you have Lacey Evans, you have Carmella.
I'll never know.
You have all these talented women on SmackDown, Mandy Rose, Sonya Deville, that could all be contenders for the women's title. On Raw, I feel like every time I talk about Raw, I'm like, who else is on there? I'm so confused.
Yeah, but that doesn't apply anymore, right? Can't they? I will never know who. I mean, maybe like 3 years ago, I knew who was on what show, but I will never know.
They did an official draft where people can't jump back and forth, so it's confusing.
No, but I thought Vince like had that rule, and then the rule no longer.
The rule got scrapped, so there's no wild card anymore.
So they can go wherever they want.
They can't. No, the rule got scrapped.
No, they can do whatever they want.
The rule got scrapped after the last draft, but yeah, I don't know. Anyways, I hope Charlotte. Congratulations to Charlotte and Andrade, who just got engaged, though. Shout out to both of them. Tranquilo to the both of them now that they will eventually be married, and Andrade will join the Flair family. Let's go. Other things that happened on SmackDown that I want to get your quick response on. Braun dancing. How'd you feel about it? I thought it was silly at first. I wasn't down with it, but realistically, what I realized is that Braun Strowman can do stupid things and still be a monster when he wants to be. He's one of the rare people that can. A lot of people are like, oh, they're killing Braun. Braun's dead, but Braun has done so many dumb things.
He's been dead though.
Yeah, he's done so many dumb things, like winning a tag titles with a child, or the fun stuff he did with Alexa. Like, if anything about the Braun Strowman character, we know that he can be fun, but if he wants to kick your ass, he can. So it's okay.
I really hope they bring Nicholas back in the crowd to just like give Braun a little fist pump.
One of these days, right?
One of these days.
I also think that I don't want Braun hanging out with the New Day too much, though, because I don't want this to be a frequent thing. But if back in the day, regular superstars could dance with Rikishi and Too Cool, like the Hardy Boys did and the Dudley Boys did, and Chris Jericho and Kurt Angle and all these legitimate and stupid stars used to do back in the Attitude Era, why can't Braun Strowman dance with the New Day?
I'm all about silliness in wrestling. That's the joy of it. Like, everyone taking it so seriously is what the buzz kill of wrestling.
Wrestling, dude. And I realized that a lot over this holiday season. As I'm like, I think adult fans ruin wrestling because they take it too seriously, including, like, I'm doing a whole show about wrestling, but like, sometimes we take it too seriously and we analyze it so much that we forget that we're just supposed to be entertained by it. And it's not even about us. Because first things first, the WWE knows that whether we like it or not, or we complain or not, we're going to continue watching it. So they really don't care about us. Not that they don't care about us, but we're the least of their concern. They care about the people that are trying to get to watch a show, and new fans and children. They're trying to get the children, and they're trying to get new fans. And they do stupid things like that wedding because new fans and children will find it amazing, whereas adults are like, what the hell's going on here? But
and you want that magic. It's like if you ever see a kid at Disney World walk up to like one of the members in costume, you're just like, oh, that's innocent and wholesome and pure, and I want to feel like that, and that's what wrestling provides us. They don't ruin it, dude, in the flit chat.
No, 110%. Like, and I'm gonna be a fan whether it's good or bad. So why am I gonna sit there and trash it? Those things I don't like, there'll be things I'll comment about and be like, this wasn't good, or I would have done it this way.
But I'll make fun of it.
This is just my opinion, but I'll never stop watching or trash wrestling or say like, Vince McMahon needs to step down or any of that. Who am I to say any of that? Like, like it's a fun show. Speaking about fun stuff, like little things. I enjoy little things like Braun dancing. I enjoy little things like Braun's, Baron King Corbin's people carrying his caravan dropped him when Roman Reigns' music hit. Like that.
I thought that was supposed to happen. It was funny.
No, and I think it was supposed to happen, but it was funny. Like, it was unexpected.
We want to see him get dropped.
Yeah,
so
it reminded me.
Us.
It's like when Jerry Lawler got dropped back in like 1994 off his caravan, and Macho Man Randy Savage was losing his shit on commentary. It's entertaining stuff, and he's a bad guy, and it's funny to see those things happen to him. Roman Reigns, man, this is my favorite Roman Reigns. And once again, I've never been one of those guys that hates Roman Reigns, and he's been one of those guys that have been trashed for years now. But my favorite Roman Reigns is the one that doesn't talk that often, isn't cutting promos every week, but it's just a badass that is kicking ass, and that's what he's been doing with Baron Corbin. Like, he's not cutting 20-minute promos. He's not trying to be funny or trying to be John Cena on the mic. He's being Roman Reigns, a badass Samoan that if he needs to talk, he's a man of few words, but he's here to kick your ass. And I like what he's been doing. This is my favorite like Roman Reigns.
But Pardon? More words. But kind of like, it's like Kane, but with a really, really attractive face.
No, 100%. And and speaking about, wrestling being for the kids and stuff, I got to do a really cool thing for a couple of kids over this holiday break.
That was so cute.
And I got them to meet Roman Reigns, Steven's wrestling journey. Follow him on Instagram and YouTube and Twitter, or wherever else you guys want to follow him. He's a little kid who's gone through 2 brain surgeries. His little brother's autistic and the biggest Roman Reigns fan. I reached out to the WWE after Nug reached out to me, showing me Steven's video, asking to get his little brother to meet Roman Reigns at a live event in Toronto that took place on December 28th. And I reached out to the WWE with that video and the information, and shout out to the social media guys at the WWE that made it happen, Nikki and Matt. But I'm happy for them. But my point being is it's really cool that, for kids, they don't care, man. They don't see the storylines and the characters and the angles. They just enjoy the show, and Roman Reigns is his favorite. And I remember what wrestling superstars used to mean to me when I was a kid. I cried when I met Bret Hart when I was 6, like Macho Man and Bret Hart and Undertaker and Shawn Michaels. Those are my heroes, man. So I always wanted to meet them when I was a kid. So I was really glad I was able to do that for these kids and just enjoy the show, man, because it's really about them. It's really not about us complaining on the internet.
I almost cried. I did cry. I pretty much cried 2 years ago when I met Billy Gunn. So
yeah, you know what I mean? Like, the little kid in me understands what those kids are going through when they have to meet their hero, and they've also had a tough childhood. And if I can do more things like that, I'm more than happy to. That was really cool. But talking about Roman reminded me of that, and I just want everyone to go follow Steven's wrestling journey. He's a kid from Toronto, and he wants to start interviewing wrestlers and doing stuff. He goes to all the local wrestling events there. He meets all the wrestlers from the local wrestling events and from Impact. And I told him to just start doing his interviews and have fun with it and chase his goals and dreams, because he's a good kid, man. And I'm very glad that worked out for them. And Roman Reigns is the man. I posted videos and pictures from the meet and greet that he did with them, and it will really make your heart smile if you have any heart at all. Other than that,
it's a test.
Yeah, if it doesn't make you happy inside, then you might need to go see a psychiatrist or a therapist. I don't know which one. Other things, Otis, Mandy, and Ziggler. How do you feel about that? I was so happy for Otis and Mandy, and I'm like, oh, Ziggler has to be that jerk that comes and ruins it. Automatically got heat with me.
I have not been a fan of Otis until this storyline. I thought he was... I just remember the stuff with Alexa Bliss, and I was like, super creepy, do not like. This is way more tender and cute, so... Mostly
because even Mandy being a heel is showing some sort of, like, love or compassion or empathy for Otis. Like, she's not, like, likes him or anything, but, she admires how much he admires her, maybe. I don't know.
You know what it reminds me of? When on The Office, that new HR woman thought that Kevin had special needs, and so she was, like, treating him like that.
Yeah, I do remember.
That is what Mandy is treating Otis like. She's like, well, Otis made it for me, so I'm going to... Oh, okay.
It's like they have this weird friendship, and obviously Otis Otis has had a crush on Mandy Rose since months now. We've seen all over social media. I think they took what was happening on social media as Otis just like making the storyline himself and putting it on TV now, which is great because as hardcore fans love that. And I think SmackDown, Raw feels like it caters to like the casual fans and has your big stars on there, and that's what you're gonna get. SmackDown feels like it kind of does cater more to the hardcore fans, and NXT's like for the hardcore fan. But I like the whole Otis Mandy thing. Ziggler got heat with me right away when he dropped the cake and was breaking Otis's heart and trying to. I'm like, oh, look at this. He's like that good-looking jock guy that comes in and is like, why are you talking to the fat guy?
Oh, yeah. I've said it so many times before, but with that jawline, Ziggler can only be a heel in my eyes. Every time they try and make him a babyface, I'm like, no, look at his jawline.
And it's believable that he'd be like that.
Every person in high school hated. Like, that. He has to play that out. He's got a Gaston from Beauty and the Beast jawline. Come on.
Yeah, so I want Otis to whip Ziggler's ass. The only thing that I'm going to say, and somehow all of the storyline with Otis, Mandy, and Ziggler is going to create some tension between Sonya and Mandy because it already seems like there was some tension between them because Mandy wasn't out there for Sonya's match last week, so Sonya wasn't out there for Mandy's match this week, and they're like, what's going on? You seem so distracted. I mean, if Otis liking Mandy and Ziggler trying to take Mandy from Otis leads to Sonya confessing her love for Mandy, we got a storyline.
I feel like people are going to be like, this is redundant now.
But they can still get it in there somehow if you go that way. And the only person that really loses in this whole situation is Tucker Knight, who's Otis' tag team partner, who has nothing to do with nothing right now.
But then maybe Liv shows up and Sonya's like, well, okay. And then Mandy gets jealous. No, that's too much. Anyways. So much.
That's what I think about that. We were talking about Mella winning. I'm happy that Mella keeps picking up wins. Mella's money. She's still got Pyro. I don't know what. It seems like they got big plans for her. And whatever plans they have for her, I'm on board with because I'm a huge Carmella fan. She's the best. Daniel Bryan versus The Fiend. Royal Rumble this year. They kept postponing the triple threat match between King Corbin, Bryan, and Miz to name the number one contender because stuff kept happening. I thought that was a really smart way to keep people tuned into the 2-hour show of SmackDown because you want to see the results of that match, and they gave it to us at the end where Bryan won. Roman came and took Corbin out of the match. It came down to Bryan and The Miz. Bryan won. It's Bryan versus The Fiend at the Rumble. This is a rematch from 2013 Royal Rumble or 2014 Royal Rumble. The 2014 Royal Rumble where they had a banger. The Fiend says that he hasn't forgotten, but he never really elaborates what he hasn't forgotten that Bryan did to him. But finally, on social media and Instagram specifically, Bray Wyatt wrote a big caption about how this is a rematch from 2014. And, Bryan was on the top of the world then, and he beat him and went to achieve such great success, but now it's his turn. I'm like, oh, so he progressed and further developed the storyline on social media rather than them giving us this information on television. Thank you, Bray Wyatt, because I've been wondering what the hell he hasn't forgotten for like 2 months now. And it's good. Now we know what The Fiend hasn't forgotten. That's Bryan's defeat over him years ago and having all this glory when it should have been his time, and now it's his time. So
it's a very straightforward reason from someone that usually I think has very convoluted reasons.
Yeah, and I know it's easy for people to figure out themselves and come up with that answer themselves, but it's nice to get the explanation from someone in the angle to kind of be like,
you never know what Bray Wyatt's going to come up with.
Yeah, and it's also
so it could have been something wild.
They've also been saying, oh, he hasn't forgotten since like before TLC or whenever they had that match. Before TLC, it was Survivor Series. I'm like, since November, you guys have been saying, oh, he hasn't forgotten. But I think it's about time you tell us what he hasn't forgotten because you just keep saying the same promo over and over again. That's one thing that I sometimes hate about Bray Wyatt. The old Bray Wyatt was promos would get really redundant. We'd be saying the same thing over and over and over again, and they didn't make sense. At least now he's trying to make sense of what he's saying because clearly the people in WWE don't want him to make sense of what he's saying. I don't know. That's it for SmackDown. Okay. Raw, Aleister and Murphy, another banger. Enjoyed the hell out of it. Huge fan of both guys. Wild. Obviously, I'm a huge Aleister Black fan. I brought up in the Flick chat that we need to have Aleister Black and Brock Lesnar. Personally, I just think that needs to happen eventually. There's not many people I want to see Brock Lesnar face anymore, but Aleister Black is on that short list. But the only question I have is where do both these guys go from here? I'm glad they didn't do a 50-50 booking, letting Murphy win. Aleister got the win again in a very competitive battle where Murphy comes out looking strong even though he lost, which is a really rare thing. He was
dominating.
That's a rare thing. Only so many times it's happened where someone loses a match and they still look strong after. One of the best guys to ever do that was Macho Man. He lost so many matches, but after his matches, he looks great after. He looks like he got over too. A greatest example of that is WrestleMania 7 when he fought the Ultimate Warrior and he lost. But at the end of the match, you were still praising the Macho Man because, you know, he got back with Elizabeth and he still got over and whatnot. But my point is, Murphy got over. He did dominate a lot of that match. I don't know what these guys are going to do from moving forward. Where does Aleister go now? Where does Murphy go? I don't want Murphy to be forgotten.
I don't know, but for once, I'm kind of excited to see what they do. I think because they're not really attached to anything, both of those characters, they're really not attached to much. They've been lone wolves most of the time that there's so many options. I still want Buddy Murphy to get rid of those shorts, but that's about it.
Yeah, I don't mind the shorts, but my thing is this. Like, there's a lot of things that are already booked for next week's Raw. We got, and one of those things is, because everyone already seems tied up. Like, obviously Andrade is the U.S. champ, and he's killing it as U.S. champ. He had a solid match this week against Ricochet. Ricochet's voice. Can we talk about Ricochet's promo voice?
No, can we not?
Can we for a second? How do you feel about Ricochet's voice? I love Ricochet. He's a hell of a talent, great wrestler, but he's not the greatest promo guy. And someone in our Flick chat...
No. He's a robot. That's what he's good at. He's good at doing insane things. He's like Neville. He's like Neville in WWE, but when Neville talked, you were like, no, don't. So,
but that's Neville in WWE. But Neville in WWE felt that way. Pac in AEW feels like a whole different guy.
Yeah, 100%.
So maybe it's just the script that they're giving Ricochet. Maybe he's just remembering the script and it comes off like a robot.
We've seen old stuff of Ricochet. I think he's just
I just think he has a funny voice. Don't get me wrong, I might have a funny voice too. I'm not saying in a discriminative way. I just think his voice...
And I think he's just a very type A personality. I think he's one of the most type A people you could
and you can't take his voice seriously. If he threatened me, I wouldn't be like... I wouldn't take it. If I saw Ricochet cutting a promo on Brock Lesnar, I would... If Brock Lesnar ever got scared, I'd be like, this is fake. This is like... This guy does not sound like someone intimidating at all.
Yeah, I've never really cared for his personality either way. I'm just like, he does really impressive things. He is a robot. I am impressed.
He's a hell of a video game wrestler. He's he's crisp as hell. Him, AJ Styles, there's a couple of video game wrestlers with everything they do looks so crisp, and they're so fun. Like the high flyers and do all these amazing things in the ring, and we refer to them as video game wrestlers. Not in a negative way. It just they look like they're in a video game. Yeah, I think you said that to me first about AJ Styles one time, and that's why I came up with it.
Yeah.
You said AJ Styles reminds you of a video game, and I'm like,
because it just doesn't. It's just like flawless.
Flawless and crisp, and like, how did you do that? And I feel
Is that a segue you're doing?
No,
right now?
But my point was
bringing up AJ Styles.
Not yet. My point, kind of though, because. But before we get to AJ Styles in that segment, Andrade is in this angle with Ricochet, kind of with Humberto. He's facing Rey Mysterio next week. He's United States champion. Okay, he has all these things going on. So Aleister and Murphy definitely aren't going after him. Like, he has so many things going on. So where do they go? Brock Lesnar's scheduled to appear next week. Nobody knows who Brock Lesnar's facing. Could he be confronted by Aleister Black? I'd be down with that. I mean, it's a Royal Rumble match. It could be a banger. Okay. But the only problem with that is that we know that Black's not going to win. That ends that undefeated streak of Black. Do we want that to happen yet?
I don't have the answers, okay?
Or if we have like Lesnar versus Murphy versus Black in a triple threat, which I know seems so out of left field, but wouldn't that just be great? Because you could have a triple threat, but instead of having Black take the fall, Murphy does, but we still get a banger.
Question.
Yes.
What's on the line here?
The WWE Championship.
Who has it?
Brock Lesnar, who's never on TV.
Still. He's never on TV. I don't know.
That's why you don't know. The U.S. title became the most relevant title, but Andrade is feuding like 4 guys. So I love Andrade. I love Zelina, but they're busy. So I don't see Aleister or Murphy going after the United States title yet. So that only leaves Brock, who has nothing to do with nothing. AJ Styles is too busy with Randy Orton. Seth Rollins and AOP are too busy with Kevin Owens and Samoa Joe, and I'm guessing eventually Rey Mysterio. So those guys are all busy. Brock doesn't really have any contenders on Raw unless someone like Ricochet steps up, Humberto steps up, or Aleister Black and Buddy Murphy. I think that triple threat would be great, and Murphy takes a fall. And Brock keeps the title. Aleister doesn't technically lose.
I'm on board. Book it.
But
book
we get
Justin.
It's probably not going to happen. But if that's my fantasy booking, and I think it's good to go because you can protect Aleister. Murphy can show us why he's one of the best again, and Brock can keep the belt, and it gets us away. It gets us through Royal Rumble, and then we'll see what happens at Mania.
And it doesn't really make Buddy look that bad if Brock beats him because Brock beats everybody.
Yeah, and back to my main point, Buddy so far has proven that he's one of those guys. Whether it's against Roman, I think he beat Daniel Bryan, but whether it's against Roman, whether it's against Bryan, whether it's against Aleister Black, he can make himself look good whether he wins or loses.
Yeah, I agree. I'm into it. Now I want. See, this is the problem. I hate your fantasy. I literally hate your fantasy bookings because I never happen, and I get you would convince me that like, oh, that's gonna happen, and you make me excited about it.
So
and
good,
never takes place.
Imagine Black taking Lesnar out of the match.
Bobby Lashley with Lana at ringside against Brock Lesnar, and I'm like, damn it, Justin.
That better not be the case.
It's a three-way.
Watch it end up being like Bobby Lashley versus Rusev versus Brock Lesnar instead. I'm like, why is this a thing?
I'm so mad.
But this is so. Can you just imagine Aleister Black hitting the black mass on Brock Lesnar where he's knocked out? Paul Heyman's losing his mind. This leaves Aleister Black and Buddy Murphy, the two guys in the ring.
I miss Paul.
Do you think one of these two guys are going to win the belt because Brock Lesnar got knocked out with a black mass? They're going at it. Out of nowhere, Brock comes back into the match. And he still ends up winning. And everyone's like, oh, we were so close to having a new champion. Brock was knocked the F out from the black mask.
You need to stop talking.
Why?
Stop it.
Paul Heyman's losing his mind trying to get Brock.
And also, now I feel like I can officially blame you because you've told the whole end of the match. So now
I even booked the finish.
So then, is listening is like,
because then
well,
you have
we
Brock,
can't do it.
Because now you have Brock knocked out. And in that time that Brock's knocked out, it's just Buddy Murphy and Aleister Black. And in your mind, you believe that one of these guys are going to win the belt. And we get a couple of close calls. Like, oh my God, Buddy almost won. Oh my God. Because now the commentators are going off like, you realize that Brock doesn't need to be pinned to lose the belt here. And Brock's just like knocked outside of the ring. But then out of nowhere.
I agree because besides those two, the only other person I can think of where I'd be like really surprised and excited that like, oh, we have a new champion that's never been champion before would be Andrade probably. Yeah. I can't think of anyone else that you would say where I'd be like excited that they're gonna be
100%.
Going up against for the title.
So then next thing you know, like Aleister Black hits a black mass on Buddy Murphy, about to go for the cover, turns around, Brock Lesnar's back in the ring, F5, Aleister Black rolls to the outside, Brock gets mad, picks up Buddy Murphy, hits him with F5, 1, 2, 3, match over.
So wait, this would be at
the Rumble.
The Rumble?
How amazing would that be?
Do you know how angry I'm going to be if I'm sitting in the crowd in Houston and Lashley is the new champion?
It's not going to happen. Brock's taking that belt to WrestleMania without a doubt, but they need something to do with the Rumble. Hopefully, he's just not off the card. Talking about the other stuff, KO and Samoa Joe make a badass team to take on these three guys. It's almost believable, it is believable that KO and Samoa Joe could take on Seth Rollins and AOP by themselves, but obviously the odds are going to come against him. I do think Rey Mysterio is going to get back in the mix because they did attack him as well. After Rey Mysterio loses to Andrade next week or it ends in DQ or something, he'll join Kevin Owens and Joe to face off against AOP and Seth Rollins. Do you agree?
Sure. Those I can't. I can't fantasy book, so it's like whatever you say. I'm like, yeah, that's
Joe's a badass. KO brings this comedic relief in their tag team because Joe gets all serious.
But I really like Joe on commentary. Can he not stop doing that?
He has to. His thumb's better. He was only on there because he broke his thumb. Also, can someone who's listening to this out there in the interweb, can someone explain to me, because maybe I missed it, maybe you guys put it in my comment section or something, I don't know, why Seth Rollins is wearing one black glove? Did he hurt his hand too or something? Is he Michael Jackson? He's wearing one black glove. No idea why.
It's pretty cool though.
I like it, but I just wonder why. I'm a Seth Rollins fan. Now that he's back to a heel, he has some character again because the babyface Rollins was getting very dorky and blah. And heel Rollins being a dork makes sense because it's heel Rollins. And I dig it. I like him with AOP as his henchman. It was believable that Joe could take out AOP by himself. It made Joe look strong. Owens flipping off the top. CM Punk put out a tweet saying, I really wish that people would stop standing there waiting for somebody to jump on them, which it's kind of true. That's a thing that happens a lot these days, but it was a good little visual. Shout out to those guys. I'm looking for they really didn't do much on Raw besides the opening segment, and they all got kicked out of the building, which I almost thought we'd see them again, but we had a wedding to attend, so...
they said they were both going to leave on their own.
Well, those two left, and then Seth guys got kicked out too, and then that was the end of their whole thing.
Oh, what about, is it Rowan?
Yeah, him in his cage. I don't know. I don't care.
Someone said Baby Yoda was going to be under it.
That's not true. That was a joke.
No, I know it was a joke. They don't have licensing for that. Come on.
I don't know.
But I thought it was funny.
Yeah, no, it was funny. There was actually some funny things that people said in that Flick Chat group. Once again, join
But what is it, and what is he doing, and how come he didn't show up at the wedding? I thought he was gonna.
That's another thing I want to point out about the wedding, though. I'm like, if they really wanted to make it that long, and I know they went into overrun, they went like 15 minutes over the 3 hours, but man, they should have just had guests come out that all started leaving one by one every time Lana started talking.
Oh my God, yeah, there was no one in the seats.
They should have just had people
I remember
come there.
seeing it, and I was like, who's going to be, like, attending the wedding? That would have been so
I get
funny.
it's funny because, like, nobody attended, but it also would have been funny if people showed up and then they all just started leaving.
Or, like, if 3 people attended, it was, like, the people we never get to see on TV. Who's on the roster that we never get to see?
I don't know, man. Like, I think Zack Ryder guys got squashed by somebody.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Who did they get squashed? Oh, Drew McIntyre and his new sexy Scotsman thing.
Oh, that is not my favorite. He's a baby face
now.
Like I said before in Flick Chat, it's like it's implied that he's sexy. Like we can see him. It's better if someone else, like on commentary, calls him that, or someone backstage.
Poor Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins though just got squashed. I like Drew McIntyre though. He's a guy that can go after Brock. Well, there you go. There's someone I didn't even think about. My whole Aleister Black, Buddy Murphy thing might be canned because Drew McIntyre goes after Brock Lesnar.
No, Justin, no.
And it doesn't seem that appealing because they've booked Drew McIntyre so poorly the past year that could happen, but it seems so pointless. I'd rather see Aleister Black and Buddy Murphy, but Drew McIntyre's a contender.
Yeah, whatever.
Also, Orton, his fake retirement. I don't know if they watched the Mark Henry promo from earlier this year, but they tried to do another whole fake retirement.
I watched it. I was in Flick Chat. I watched it.
Yeah, they got me. I actually thought he was injured. I bought it.
I knew as soon as AJ came out, we said this, like, as soon as AJ came out, we were like, oh, nah. He wouldn't, if he was actually injured and this was, like, a very sad moment, like Edge, we wouldn't be.
No, 100%. But I mean, like,
way.
prior to Monday Night Raw, when I saw the video from the live show.
Oh, yeah.
And I posted about it in the morning on Monday. I honestly assumed he was injured. People said Dave Meltzer reported that it's a storyline. I said, listen, Dave Meltzer's been wrong before, but I hope he's right. Yeah. And I'm like, God, he was right. So shout out to Dave Meltzer for being right about that it was a part of his storyline because...
yeah, but I feel like AJ should have come out and like shook his. I mean, AJ is so good at being the like hometown boy honesty thing. Like he should have just shook his hand and blah blah blah. It was no Mark Henry retirement.
No, it wasn't
for sure.
But they kind of tried to do the same.
As soon as he came out, you knew.
Yeah.
And then they kind of took away from the moment when there was a heel turn.
He hit that RKO. It was dope. The one thing I'll say about it, and Orton making it seem like he had a hard time getting in the ring. He played it perfectly. He's a legend. He's a GOAT. Though I'm gonna be that guy again for a second though. The reason why I think I enjoyed it more than other people is because even though you told me that Dave Meltzer reported that it was a storyline, I was still on the fence about it.
I didn't tell you that.
No,
I don't know what Meltzer
people
reports.
commented, and I think that Meltzer said it was a storyline. I was still on the fence on it, like it could not be a storyline, and it made me enjoy it more when I found out it wasn't. Because it really wasn't spoiled for me. So my point being is when you spoil things for yourself and you read things like the newsletter, you listen to Dave Meltzer and he reports these things, and then you watch and you're like, oh, that wasn't even that good. It was because you already let yourself know what was going to happen. I'd rather go in there. I'd rather go in there.
AJ spoiled it for me.
Yeah, no, I'd rather go into a show not knowing anything so I can enjoy that segment for what it ends up being than being like, oh, but it's already been reported that he's not actually injured, so I already know what's going to... Like, that's so lame. Surprise yourself.
No, that's true because I then had to go. I thought it was real up until the moment AJ came out, and then I was like, "Wait, is it?" And so then I was like waiting, like, and I was like sorting it out in my brain as it was happening. So yeah, for sure.
No, same here. I thought it was real until AJ came out, even though people told me that it wasn't. I'm like, I'm gonna still sit here and believe that it is because I've convinced myself after listening to a bazillion podcasts that Conrad produces that Meltzer can be wrong. So
they want you to believe.
Yeah, so I'm like, let's have him be wrong a little bit. And he wasn't, which I'm glad he wasn't. But like the fact that I went into thinking like, oh, he could be wrong, I still enjoyed the segment as if like I didn't know at all. Other than that, next week the tag team titles on the line: Street Profits versus the Viking Raiders versus the OC. Shout out to Street Profits; they're extremely entertaining. I don't think they should in the second promo after their match where they talked about multi-universes because it seemed like they were kind of like tired from the match, and you know Angelo Dawkins was kind of losing his words about it and stuff, and it got a little confusing. But the match was great. The promo would have been great if it was done maybe before the match. And I love them singing the OC theme song because I grew up watching the OC.
Yeah,
Steph, Ryan, Marissa, and Summer.
They didn't really. That's a Phantom Planet song, and I love Phantom Planet.
Yeah, Phantom Planet.
Swordsman was the drummer.
Yeah,
but they didn't do a great job of that. But I do.
No, they were really
like
offbeat.
Dawson.
They were offbeat.
I like Dawkins.
Yeah,
they were offbeat. Yeah. Dawkins.
Angelo
Not
Dawkins.
Dawson. You're right,
yeah.
Dawkins. I like how he like breaks the fourth wall and looks at the camera a lot. It's real funny.
No, both of them. They're great. They're honestly, they're standouts for sure. They make Raw fun, 110%. They're a good vibe, man. They're a good time. And talking about a good time this week, AEW Dynamite was not bad. Their first show of 2020 was not bad.
It wasn't.
before we talk about all the good stuff, there is one flaw that somebody pointed out to me this week that totally flew over my head. It actually pointed out to me today, but it totally flew over my head. Is they did all this stuff with Brandy Rhodes and the Dark Order last week, and the Dark Order ended the show attacking everybody, and there was no Brandy Rhodes or Dark Order on this episode. And I don't know if that's the reason why it was better. But
someone commented that on one of your wrap up post, and I commented below. I was like, because they said like, there was no Dark Order and there was no Brandy Rhodes, and that's what made it good. And I was like, I really wish I didn't agree with you so much, but I think I do.
Brandy Rhodes thing really isn't good to me. The Dark Order stuff they started making better with these vignettes they were doing. Last week's attack was kind of whatever, but not to follow up on the attack hurts the Dark Order. For Brandy, I think Brandy not being on TV was a good thing, to be honest with you. But with the Dark Order thing, like I think not following up with the attack, not even with a vignette or a promo from them, saying this is why we did this last week, without nothing, it was kind of bad. They should have done something.
Yeah. I mean, I don't like them, so I don't care.
I did dislike them for the whole first period that they were here, but since they started doing these little video packages about joining the cult and the whatever, I'm like, oh, this is kind of developing into something I can get behind. And I got behind it. Then they attacked everyone last week. And I'm like, I didn't like the attack. I thought it was kind of I just wasn't a fan of it yet, but I'm like, okay, let's see what happens with it. And nothing happened with it this week. Absolutely nothing. Not even a promo. Maybe there's something on YouTube I haven't seen yet, because AEW is notorious for doing stuff on YouTube that you don't see on TV, and we're supposed to somehow follow YouTube at the same time. When, to be honest with you, even myself, sometimes not every week sits on, like, there's weeks, I can go weeks without going on YouTube, to be honest.
You know what's weird? Do you remember, like, 2 summers ago, or maybe even a year ago at this point, when, like, I felt so deprived of fun wrestling storylines that I would wait for Being the Elite to come out.
Yeah.
And like as soon as it came out, I would watch it and be like, oh, I need more.
No, that's true, because
go back and watch it. But now
I stopped watching Being the Elite maybe a while ago. I stopped watching Being the Elite before like Wrestle Kingdom something. Then you got me back into it because you're like, Being the Elite this, Being the Elite that. So I started watching them again up until like AEW.
And up until like
I just haven't watched for the last couple of weeks, to be honest. Last 2-3 weeks, maybe the last month I've missed the Being the Elites.
I think it started to fall off for me when they had the segments with Sammy. Probably Sammy.
Oh, no, I still watch them. Speaking about Sammy, let's start about let's just get through AEW and call this a show. Because NXT was just a recap show and they gave it awards. Sammy Guevara calling out the one thing AEW did really well on this week was using their commercial times. Like, when they had the 2-screen commercial things to actually have something going on.
That's when that segment was?
Yeah. Yeah, so they actually, because in the past weeks, they would go to commercial and they do the split screen thing, and sometimes it'll just be like visuals of the crowd and stuff. And I've been saying for weeks, I'm making in my notes that AEW is really bad at using this commercial split screen thing for notable moments. So this week, it was either during a match that they went to commercial and they had a split screen, or Sammy was doing a little card thing during the split screen thing, and he said it was for his vlog. So first things first, shout out to Sammy Guevara for
that is pretty clever. But isn't it also it was a nod to I think the movie's Love Actually, right?
Oh yeah, maybe yeah. But he does this regularly. He's actually done this card thing a couple of times.
Pretty funny.
And he does it on his vlog, and he did it saying John Moxley, give us your answer. Then he at the end of it said something about Dustin Rhodes, but in the middle he called out Victoria Justice's sister, showing off his Twitter handle and his Instagram handle, saying hit me up. And I don't know about you guys. For the very longest time, I've had a crush on Victoria Justice. I think she's gorgeous. But her sister's really pretty too. And it's funny because he's like Victoria Justice's sister, not with her actual name and stuff. And it was like a joke. But I posted on my page, and I also posted them this morning on my page. And I also DM'd both of them, trying to send them the video. And I also DM'd Melanie Iglesias, who's friends with Victoria Justice, who I also talk to myself personally, and opens my DMs and sees my DMs because we've talked. It sounds like a loser saying opens my DMs. We talk, so she sees my DMs. And I sent her the videos and stuff too. And she saw it. But I'm just hoping that Madison, Victoria Justice's sister, Madison Reed, a.k.a. Madison Grace on Instagram, and Victoria Justice, either one of them see it, because I think it's really funny. I told Sammy, and Sammy's like, it was just for his vlog. And he has a girlfriend, and his girlfriend's getting mad. Sorry about that. But not to kill kayfabe here, I just want Madison to see it or Victoria to see it, because I think if they respond, that would be money. So I hope they respond.
You're gonna get him in trouble. I looked it up to make sure, because I just saw the clip and it looks like he like completely spoofed the entire scene from Love Actually.
No, probably he did a whole thing
because it's a Christmas movie.
Yeah, but first he was like, "Hey, John Moxley, what's your answer? Let us know." And then he picked more cards, and he said like, "Hey, Victoria Justice secret."
Even like a doorway. There was like a doorway with a wreath.
No, I've watched Love Actually. I know the whole card thing.
I actually have never seen it.
I've seen it, but I know the whole card thing with Keira Knightley and everybody in there. But I thought that was hilarious. So shout out to Sammy Guevara for doing that. He said it's for his vlog, but he's like, I just do that stuff for my vlog. But I'm like, listen, man, I want to try to make them respond because that would just be fun for everyone. I'm like, I'm just doing it for fun. I'm just trying to
gimmick. It's
started something fun, and I'm trying to have fun with it to see if I can make them respond because I'm a huge Victoria Justice fan. I watched Zoe 101 and Victorious when I was a kid, and I'm a huge fan of her, and her sister's hilarious. Her sister's pretty, and if Sammy Guevara is trying to get his sister to hit him up, I'm gonna try to get her to hit him up. But
she can be on the show.
Yeah, she can be on the show. Other than that, MJF, he's stated his stipulations. I think one of them was that Cody can't touch him until they get to Revolution. Cody has to face Wardlow in a cage, and I think the second stipulation was something like if Cody loses, MJF gets to whip him 10 times or something like that, if I'm correct. He got really into talking about whipping Cody.
Yeah, that wasn't my favorite MJF promo.
Not my favorite MJF promo as well. That's probably the worst MJF promo I've seen thus far. But they can't
all be amazing.
But he's money, regardless. Yeah. The guy walked out and kissed somebody's wife. And threw some guy's hat across.
True heel.
And threw some guy's hat across the arena. Like, literally took the guy's hat off his head and threw it across the arena to the other side.
Dang.
You can't get as real as MJF, mate. You can't. He's the man. I don't know.
He's amazing. He's one of the best heels.
But he
can be as mean and ruthless as possible without having to spit on a child.
The entire you can't touch me until we get to the pay-per-view, and you have to face my bodyguard in a cage before we get there. Those are very old school stipulations, and I actually really dig that. The 10 whips is very old school too, but it just seems weird in this day and age for no other reason that I don't know. Even in the world of wrestling, being like, hey, I want to give you 10 lashes to the back if I beat you seems so why not just have a strap match then? I don't know, bro. But it is what it is.
On multiple levels.
Yeah. A little kinky. But
that was one of the levels, yes.
The women had a fatal 4-way because Statlander couldn't be there to face Rio this week, and Statlander's facing Rio for the women's champion next week, which almost made it obvious that Rio is going to retain the title this week in the fatal 4-way against Britt Baker, Nyla Rose, and I think it was Shida. Probably the best women's match I've seen on television thus far for AEW. They are developing characters all over the place for the women. Finally, that their names aren't Brandy Rhodes. Rio won, as expected, but Nyla beat the crap out of Shida and Rio after the match. I said in our Flick chat that Britt Baker needs to turn heel ASAP.
I agree.
She was brought into this company as if she was going to be the face of the women's division, and we got Britt Baker, and it was her and Kylie Ray, and Kylie Ray obviously left already and is not with AEW no more. But they brought those two in they were going to be the face of the women's division, and next Rio's the champion, Brandy Rhodes is doing stuff, Statlander is getting title shots, and Britt Baker is on TV almost every other week, and she's still popular, but she's not really getting what she thought she was going to get when she came to AEW, and that's a more than enough reason for her to turn heel and be like, hey, what the hell's going on? And then she cut that promo backstage where she went on to Rio's face saying, this is supposed to be my stuff, and I don't know what the hell's going on here, and blah, blah, blah. But I'm like, yes, you're doing exactly what I thought you guys should do. That's a rare occasion.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Britt Baker needs to be one way or the other, just like Brandy needs to be one way or the other. The whole women's division needs to be.
There's still a lot of work.
A few different ways or the other.
There's a whole lot of work that needs to be done. I honestly want the title off Rio. Hopefully, Statlander wins the next week. Nothing against Rio, but I just haven't been able to get behind her enough or invest to care about her enough to care about her championship reign. That's just all it is. They haven't done anything for me to care. Not that they've done anything for me to care about Statlander yet. Maybe they can. Let's, refresh, reset, try it again. I don't know. Nyla Rose, they've been doing stuff with Nyla, assuming that something's going to happen with her. She's been putting people through tables for the last month.
I feel like that's all I ever see when I see a women's match is Nyla.
So hopefully she does something. I don't know. And Brandy, Britt Baker, once again, needs to get aggressive and turn heel since the opportunity's been given. Anyways, that's all I want to say about the women.
Also, what's her face? Bunny. Where's Bunny at?
She's with the Butcher and the Blade being their manager now. And those women are doing things at least. So the Bunny's with the Butcher and the Blade. Mm-hmm. We saw Penelope Ford, Low Blow, Joey Janela, who was our ex-boyfriend.
So good. I love it.
The super bad Penelope Ford with super bad Kip Saban. I'm a huge Kip Saban fan. I think he's dope.
Yeah,
Low Blow, the bad boy Joey Janela, and obviously Penelope used to be known as the bad girl. Did not think they were going to go with this angle because the real life technicalities here.
I feel like Joey's the one to be like, let's do that.
No, 100%. But I think at first, I don't know. I think I read something that he didn't want to, or they didn't want to. But since Penelope was his real life ex-girlfriend, and they broke up, and then she started dating Kip Sabian in real life, and they took this super bad gimmick, it almost seemed inevitable that let's blur the lines of reality and scripted television, and let's have these guys feud.
Sometimes that's fun,
and it looks like it's going to happen. This kind of makes it look like Penelope's not over Joey, which I probably would have had to go the other way, but I guess Joey's the good guy, they're the bad guys, the heels, Kip and Penelope, so we'll see how it goes. I don't know. I mean, I'm a fan of Joey. I think Joey's dope when he's put in the right situations. I'm a fan of Penelope. I think I don't even think we've seen the best of Penelope yet on AEW Dynamite, and I think Kip Sabian is going to be one of the top stars in the future, depending how long this company goes for, because he's got everything that you could want in a superstar.
They look really great together and look super badass, and I think both of them can follow up with that in the ring, which is really exciting.
The only crappy thing is that Joey's feud with Shawn Spears seems to be over, and Ty Dillinger leaving the WWE for greater things in AEW doesn't seem to be happening for him at the moment. They even paired him with the legendary Tully Blanchard, who I also think should be doing more. I'm more sad about Tully Blanchard not getting a push than Shawn Spears, unfortunately, but kind of sucks for Shawn Spears. Like, he probably should have beat Cody or something, because now he just feels like Ty Dillinger.
True.
He feels like Ty Dillinger just with Tully Blanchard, which sucks. Other than that, Darby had another cool little video package heading into his match with Cody, where he was skateboarding with the Cody mask on, and it transitioned to his entrance. It was a really cool video. His entrance is dope. Just the transition from the video to the entrance wasn't so great. The match was a banger. They had a really good match. Cody and Darby have great chemistry, and that's also, you got to credit Darby, man. One other guy's going to be a future star for this company if they keep going the way he's going. Kids love him. He has that Jeff Hardy vibe. He's got the painted face. He's got that Daredevil, attitude.
I almost wore my Darby shirt.
See, he's relatable. Kids can relate to him. He's got that angst that teenagers, I feel, can relate to. And
he also just moves so cool in the ring.
Yeah, and he's once again, don't want to hardcore compare him to Jeff Hardy, but he kind of is his own kind of enigma. And maybe not a charismatic enigma, but he's his own kind of enigma. And I like the fact that, he lost here, but once again, similar to Buddy Murphy, in loss, he still got himself over and looked really good, which is a hard thing to do. Not everybody does it well.
Yeah, that match was cool.
And Cody having Arn as his coach, and I like that Arn is his coach. He's not a manager. He's not an agent. He's his coach.
Don't know the difference, really.
For me, because he stood out there like a coach. He stood on the sidelines. He wasn't pacing back and forth. He was strategically watching the match, and he did one thing the entire match. He jumped on the apron, and he said, knee, like he patted his knee to tell Cody to put his knees up. It was one thing, and Cody put his knees up. Darby did his little death drop thingy. What's it called? The coffin drop. And it hit Cody's, and Cody put his knees up, and that's what got Cody the victory. That one coach tactic that came from Arn helped Cody the victory, which shows how Arn is beneficial to Cody. He's the head coach of the Nightmare family, and he's going to coach Cody to all the success in the world. Is basically what's going on there.
Okay.
Because I feel like a manager, when I think of managers, I think of like Bobby Heenan, and I think of like Jimmy Hart, where they're screaming and yelling outside the ring and they're hoping you cheat. Like, I don't see Arn doing that at any point. I see Arn standing out there as a strategic manager guy that's outside the ring, kind of guiding Cody on what to do at pivotal points of the match, and that's a great role for Arn Anderson, the enforcer.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, thank you for specifying the differences
and making it make sense. For
it seemed like a very fine line between it, and that makes sense now.
Yeah. Moxley had a match against Trent Beretta. It was a great match. Obviously, we got an Orange Cassidy Moxley moment where a couple of people in the Flick chat were like, "Wouldn't it just be funny if Moxley just put his hands in his pockets too and taunted Orange Cassidy?" And that's exactly what he did. There was no really physical interaction between the two, but it was enough of a distraction for Trent to get the upper hand on Moxley.
I love it though. Those moments of like the whole stadium cheering for people, winding up to them putting their hands in their hands.
It was great. And Orange Cassidy just gets a pop every time. And going back to John Moxley from his Dean Ambrose character, like, it makes sense that he put his hands in his pockets too. Like, it's just there's a little bit of a fine line of Moxley Ambrose there, and it was good stuff. I liked it. The match was good. Jericho tried to offer Moxley a spot in the Inner Circle, the head spot of the Inner Circle, and a car to get Moxley to join the Inner Circle. That sounded so stupid, but what people are like, oh, that's so dumb. Like, why is he offering him a car in the top spot? Like, the Inner Circle is like this big group. You got to look at it from the perspective of Jericho is technically just trying to do whatever it takes to not have to face Moxley. Like, he's desperate not to face him, so he's offering him all this stuff. We all know it's going to end up being Moxley versus Jericho. We all know where this is heading. Just enjoy the ride. People are getting way too analytical about, why would he be offering him this stuff? Why would Moxley care about this stuff? Like, It's because he's doing whatever it takes not to face Moxley, because Moxley's a lunatic, and Jericho doesn't want to face a lunatic. It makes sense. No? I don't know.
I hope the car gets trashed, or like Moxley just shows up with the license plate, and it's all like messed up, and he's like, "Here, I found this."
Yeah, people will like kind of like just saying the promo is dumb, and it makes no sense. Like, I'm like, it makes all the sense in the world. Sammy had a good match with Dustin after that. It was a solid match. And I see Jake Hager get involved and whatnot. The other thing about Jericho and Moxley, they're both going to be on night 2 of Wrestle Kingdom this upcoming January 4th in the next couple of days. Yeah, Jericho has a match, and so does Moxley. So if they cross paths at Wrestle Kingdom, that will be very entertaining to see, to help build the AEW match. We'll see if that happens in New Japan Pro Wrestling.
I was kind of hoping with AEW and this whole like trying to do it differently, I guess, that there'd be more crossover. I
think they tease if someone wins a match. So my New Japan knowledge at the very moment is very low, but next week I'll have Unkin on here again, and we're going to talk all about Wrestle Kingdom and its results, because I'm actually going to stay up and watch both nights of Wrestle Kingdom this week. But there is a match, I can't tell you off the top of my head right now, where if someone wins, they get to face Jericho for the AEW title. But But obviously, I don't see that happening at all. So, yeah, they hint.
It'd be really cool though.
They hint crossovers, but from what has been said in the past, I think Tony Khan said he wants to keep AEW exclusive and not really work with other companies yet, like New Japan Pro Wrestling. Where I think if they did, that would be so much money.
Yeah, why does he want to do that?
I don't know, because some of the coolest things about All In was like seeing Okada there and seeing certain guys. You know what I mean? But yeah,
even if storylines were to cross over when people went to certain places, but they never showed up on AEW. I don't know, but it would just be so cool if there's more crossover.
The main event was solid. The Bucks and Omega versus Pac and the Lucha Brothers. I'm a fan of all 6 of those guys. I'm glad they're all on TV. Omega seemed to have got his groove back, because honestly, this entire AEW run, Omega's just kind of felt not like Omega.
There's a crossover I need.
And
I need Ibushi.
Yeah, Omega just hasn't felt like a Omega like at all for some reason. The Bucks killed it as they usually do. It was a good match. The Lucha Brothers, the only thing I want to say about them is I just hope they start picking up more momentum in AEW, because I feel like they've been losing a lot in AEW. And I love seeing Pac. I love seeing Pac any week. Pac at AEW is probably one of my favorite wrestlers in AEW. It's just everything about him. He doesn't even need to cut promos. He just needs to be there. And I'm like, this guy's a badass. And they always protect him. He didn't even take the fall in this match. Like, he's always... he's a guy that could go after the title very soon. Or if they finally come out with a middle of the card title or mid-card title or whatever you want to call it, like, he could be the first champion and run with it for a while and make that title feel prestigious, without a doubt. Other than that, enjoyed all the Jen Decker interviews backstage, the stuff with Sammy Guevara and Christopher Daniels, where they're going to go at it next week with SCU promo that she cut, and then, Guevara's always vlogging, so Daniels... Yeah,
they're a good mix, because the boomers with...
Yeah, and then Daniels... because Daniels licked his finger and then put it on the phone, and, Sammy Guevara got really sad. Also, the stuff with Private Party, and Hangman Page. And let's talk about something really quickly you mentioned before the show started.
Why are they the same gimmick?
The Private Party and
Street Profits
seem very similar to you, and the African American teams.
I still don't know.
They both drink, they both party.
Why are they the same gimmick? Like, why
do African American tag teams
have the same gimmick?
Always get stereotypical gimmicks? I have no idea.
Who was first? I
can't tell you. The Street Profits might have been doing this on NXT, I think, since for a couple of years, to be honest.
Someone tell us.
But also, I know that Private Party has probably been doing this stuff on the independents for a longer period than any of us, than you and I know, because we don't watch hog wrestling or anything like that where they came from. So who was doing it first? I don't know. Who's doing it better?
It really stresses me out.
Who's doing it better? I'm gonna say the Street Profits, only because they get a lot more exposure. We haven't seen that much of Private Party, but what they do is good.
They're both very good. It's just It upsets me when I have to think for a moment, like, okay, let's not be that person and mix up the two black tag teams that have the exact same gimmick, because that's only going to make you look like an asshole. But also it's because they have the exact gimmick.
They're just guys that like to party and have a good time, and they're good wrestlers. It's I don't know. It's like very similar. You're right.
It's stressful, guys. I need answers, and I also need someone to stand down and mix it up a little bit.
We got Jungle Boy cutting a promo with Luchasaurus and Marco Stuante with Jennifer Decker. And the only thing I want to say about that,
very funny.
It was very funny. Everybody has a crush on Jennifer Decker, which is amazing. She's dope. Shout out to Jennifer and the whole Swings and Misses podcast. But I don't know about Jungle Boy cutting promos, man.
No, he should just talk. He should just. I feel like he was more talking in that. No,
he was, but I feel like the more he talks, the less. I found it more intriguing when he didn't talk that much.
No, I think it goes. I think it's fine with his origin story. He's just kind of like Mowgli. He's just kind of like,
okay, fair.
I'm here to
I don't.
win.
Maybe I'm being
genuine.
too quick to judge. We'll see how it goes. Like, I like Jungle Boy. I see Jungle Boy in the same way I see Darby Allin, the same way I see other people that I mentioned that seem like they'll be stars in the future. Sammy Guevara, MJF, like, he's those guys I think could be the future of AEW. But at the same time, like, I don't know.
But imagine if he was trying to, like, really prove something with his promos. That'd be far more cringe than him just being like, we've had a good week, we're going to keep going, blah, 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 blah. Like, that just makes sense for him, and I'm okay with that. It's when he starts getting, like, trying to be Ricochet and be intimidating, where I'm like, no, dude. You're earnest, and you want to try your hardest, and you're the David and the Goliath story. So, yeah, just do that.
No, I agree. And the last but not least, this tension with Hangman Page and the rest of the Elite, because the Elite came out to celebrate at the end of the show. The Bucks, Omega, and Cody, and then they tried to call Hangman Page, who was on commentary, to come down and join them, but he did not. And is this Hangman? And he was drinking on commentary. Is this Hangman Page joining the Dark Order? Is this Hangman Page doing his own thing? A couple of other things I just want to point out right before we sign off on AEW. Why the hell do MJF and Cody never interact with each other on these shows? Why wouldn't MJF come, like, you don't walk out there with Wardlow and watch Cody's match with Darby from the stage for a couple of minutes and then go back to the back? Why didn't Cody come out there and want to confront MJF when he made the stipulations, if he was there to come party at the end of the show anyways? That's one thing that bothers me. Another thing that bothers me is, this doesn't bother me, but another thing that's kind of interesting to me is that Marty Scurll is a free agent. When is he coming to AEW? I think it's inevitable. He's doing stuff with NWA, not under a contract. He's just doing it just for the sake of doing it. He's a free agent right now. He's not under contract with Ring of Honor no more. When's he coming? Because he has to be coming. He just has to be coming.
But don't you think he'd want to come with his whole crew?
I don't know. I think that
and
crew.
Is that, are they free
I think
agents?
that whole crew was just his Ring of Honor thing, and I think that's done. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm not up to date. But the last time I checked,
at least Brody though.
Yeah, that'd be dope. But the last time I checked, Marty was no longer with Ring of Honor. He's a free agent. He's doing stuff with NWA, but he's not signed to any contract or anything. He's a full-on free agent. That might have changed in the last couple of days, or by the time this podcast.
What's the next pay-per-view?
Revolution in January, so this month. But I don't know. I think
where
Marty,
is it at?
I don't know. You're asking so many questions that I didn't.
You have all the answers.
I know. I did not prepare that much for this show this week. I feel like I'm
just kidding.
We dropped the Christmas episode early, and I was telling Sonu when we got it, I'm like, I feel like I haven't been here in so long. It feels so long since we dropped an episode. But
everyone's really disappointed in you.
By next week, I'll be more prepared and I'll have all these answers, guys.
That's
all I want to bring up about AEW is that Marty Scurll's a free agent. I find it weird that MJF and Cody don't cross paths. And also the other thing that we mentioned at the beginning is that it was weird that there's no follow-up for the Dark Order, and Brandy Rhodes has disappeared for the entire week, the show. But for the first show of 2020, it felt fresh. I liked the stadium they were in. I like that look. I like that vibe. I wish they would do shows there for like a month straight and then go back to going to arenas and stuff again, because they can build a home base. Plus, it reminded me of when Nitro used to be at the MGM Disney studio for like a month straight when the NWO first appeared, and it was just a good, different vibe. I don't know why I liked the smaller venue. I liked the entrance there and stuff. It was a cool vibe. I like that, and that, you know, sometimes you watch Raw and Smackdown, it always looks the same no matter what arena it's in. It always looks the same. Where Dynamite, like, it looks one way when it's in the big arenas, and it looks one way when it looks in this place. And it's cool that they can look a little bit different. Tony Schiavone couldn't be there this week because he was committed to something else before. So Taz was on commentary with Jim Ross. Taz and Jim Ross worked together a lot in the past. I really enjoyed them on commentary together. I hope Taz sticks around. Maybe they can do something where the first hour it's like Jim Ross, Taz, and Excalibur or something. Then the second hour,
I like them rotating. It's probably good for them just to have days off.
And then
like
the
that.
second hour have like Tony Schiavone, Jim Ross, and Excalibur, like mix it up a little bit. Because that's what Nitro used to do. And I used to like it when they'd mix up commentary teams because it made every hour feel a different kind of fresh.
I just call Tony Schiavone Nike Monarchs.
Why?
Because he wears dad sneakers, usually Nike Monarchs.
Yeah, because he's Tony Schiavone, man.
I know, I like it.
I love Tony Schiavone.
I take a picture every time I see Nike Monarchs in the wild. I take a photo of them.
Yeah, but I don't know. Maybe like the first hour Excalibur. I don't know. I like Taz being on commentary and working with AEW. Him and JR like had great chemistry and they knocked it like. And they've worked together on commentary in the WWE more recently than Tony Schiavone and Jim Ross worked together. Because the last time Jim Ross and Tony Schiavone worked together was like the early '90s, and it's great hearing them together. But they're also both like the same age and they're both very old school.
You need a mix.
Where Taz has still been in the mix, still younger, still up to date with what's going on in wrestling today.
Taz is great.
So it kind of brought a different feel. Where sometimes Schiavone, similar to Jim Ross, are just both two old school guys that like their greatest memories are from the classic days more than the more modern days. But yeah.
I'm sorry to take it off of AEW for just a moment.
No, we're done with AEW. Go on.
Okay, well, King on commentary just... I don't like it.
I like it. He's a familiar voice.
I don't like it. He just doesn't fit. It's you can tell he's holding back. You can tell he
has to hold back
because
it's a PG
I know because he's King. I know, but like
when he got excited when Zelina Vega came out, but he couldn't get excited about.
Oh my god!
She looked great though. Shout out to Zelina Vega.
Oh, she looked amazing. But like
she looks amazing every week, but this week
sometimes it just I don't know.
I think he also like his style and who he's commentating with, like it's different, man. And King came from an era where they had more freedom. Like they were literally on commentary with Vince McMahon, not Vince McMahon in the era. And he was a veteran. He had more freedom, and he worked in different eras. It doesn't feel the same. Some of his jokes seem dated and stuff, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I can't pinpoint it. There's sometimes where I'm like,
I like the 2-man team, but maybe they need a third guy, or maybe King needs to go and they need to put someone else there. They have guys like Tom Phillips. They have guys like Byron Saxton and all the other guys that they could put there that are actually really good. I miss Tom Phillips. He was great when he was on SmackDown, but I don't know. Some people don't like the King. Some people do. I'm indifferent, to be honest with you. There was times
I wish I could remember, but there was something he said on Raw where I was like, can we...
I'll say one thing. King made that whole wedding segment a lot more entertaining than it was. Just his reactions to the thing.
Yeah, he does fill in the space.
Yeah. His reactions to the thing and like talking about how silly and funny things were. Like,
Wait, is Morrow like the new King? We're going to look back and be like, God, he was annoying. I know that sounds fucked up.
No, you're going to get so much hate for saying that because people love Morrow.
I know they
Saying something bad about Morrow is like blasphemy in the wrestling internet community. I don't hate Morrow. I think Morrow's great. But I will also agree.
Corey is the new King.
Maybe. Corey's probably the new King.
Joe is the new Taz. Like, come on, we can do it. It's fine.
I just think Morrow, personally, and I love Morrow. I love Morrow's commentary. But sometimes I do think it's a little much. When he's...
Right. Whereas King's a little much, but it does fill in and make you like have to ride that wave of excitement with that level of... tone in their voice.
No, they're fair game. I don't know. I think you're right. I get it. It just sometimes Morrow, I think, cuts off the other commentators he works with, and that's the only thing that bothers me. Not that Morrow sucks, but sometimes Morrow's going so ham that like Nigel and like Beth can't get their stuff out. That's the only thing that bothers me sometimes. But if you say that, he gets really upset because Corey said something to the likes of it.
Speaking about the volume of people's voices, shout out to Justin Roberts.
Oh. Moxley.
It's so long and it's unreal. Yeah, how it's
happy
such a skill.
Belated birthday to Justin Roberts. So
how do you even practice that skill? That's wild.
He used to do it for John Cena back in the day. That's why
I know, but like it's just.
If you guys haven't, though,
and you think it's over, it's
read Justin Roberts' book. It's a good book. You should all check it out. He goes really in depth of his time working with the WWE, and it's really interesting. Other than that, though, AJ, where can people find you? What are your socials?
At KeepMe on Instagram.
Yeah.
And pretty much that. I mean, Twitch, AJ KeepMe, but it's mostly KeepMe.
So you guys can find AJ at KeepMe. You can find me at the Wrestling Classic, Justin Dillon's a personal. TWC Worldwide on Twitter, TWC Shop if you want some merchandise. And yeah, make sure to use those promo codes, TWC Maestro for Maestro Classic, TWC 15 for Chalkline. You can listen to this show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, aka iTunes, Google Play, the Flick Chat app. This podcast is streamed through Flick Chat as well, through the app, through my group. TWC Show. So if you download the Flick Chat app, it's free. It's hassle free. There's no ads. There's no in-app purchases. There's no BS. It's honestly just another place for where we can communicate and have conversations, and you can talk to me when you guys want to talk to me during shows, and I can directly talk to you guys. So download the Flick Chat app, and the podcast, you can hear it there too. And then we also upload the podcast in video form every week on the Wrestling Classic YouTube channel. So make sure you subscribe, leave a rating, leave comments, leave a like, all those stuff on all those platforms. Do the thing. I'll be back next week. I'm going to try to, hopefully Devin's back next week. If not, maybe AJ will come back. I'm definitely going to get Unkid in here because he's a huge New Japan Pro Wrestling fan, and we're going to break down some of the stuff that we enjoyed from Wrestle Kingdom. That's airing on January 4th. We're recording this on January 2nd, if you're wondering, because it's probably be out on January 4th. But I want to watch Wrestle Kingdom. I have Unkid coming here with all of his notes, like he did that one time, to talk about Wrestle Kingdom. And yeah, man, congratulations to Lana and Lashley. Congratulations to Andrade and Charlotte. Shasha Shanks, we love you. Salsa Banks, whatever you want to call her. AEW, hopefully they keep up the momentum, and we'll see you all next week. Anything you want to add, AJ?
We will both see you at the Rumble because Justin's definitely going.
And she's trying to make me show up, because if you show up, things happen. That's what we've learned. Embrace the madness. Ooh, yeah, dig it. We out.